Thank you so much, Emily. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing okay today. Happy New Year to one and all. Thank you for taking time to join today's session. Really appreciate it. We are here to talk about data security and compliance for Microsoft Foundry AI apps and agents. My name is Safeena, and I'm the Principal PM Manager leading Purview for AI. Along with me, I have my colleague Ajay, who will be joining us later half of the presentation. Yeah, so I just wanted to start off with some fun exercise to understand where you're logging in from today. Love to understand if you could put in the message in the I am. Let me check. Do you see anything coming in, Emily?
Nope, not yet. It would have to be coming through the live event Q&A.
No, okay.
Looks like someone said Toronto.
Toronto, cool. I hope you're dealing okay with the cold. I come from Toronto myself. Cool. Let's get started. Yeah. So we want to start off with the challenges that we've been hearing from the customers. Not sure why it is transitioning to the next slide, but that's weird. Yeah, so we want to understand, every time we talk to the customers, we understand that there are some data security concerns and developer challenges that they've been experiencing, and which is why, making sure that having Purview as the top of mind for them is important to understand. Ajay, do you want to share your screen if you don't mind? It's transitioning to the next slide.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And while we do that, it looks like a lot of people have messaged in now from where they're coming from. We have lots of folks in the US, Spain, Amsterdam, Belgium, Finland, France, Scotland, all over the world. So it's great to see.
That's so cool. Great to see you all. Okay, perfect. Cool. So as organizations think about scaling AI applications across the enterprise, security becomes one of the most critical blockers of adoption, right? And this slide here, we introduce specifically to highlight the two sides of challenges that we have been hearing from the customers, which is one is the data risk organizations face and the realities that developers are struggling with, right? So when you think about data security concerns, the most common concern is the inadvertent data leakage, either sensitive data being pulled into AI apps unintentionally or AI apps exposing data externally. So with AI systems interacting with multiple data sources, this risk actually grows exponentially. I'm sure many of you agree, right? And the second is the most common issue that we've been hearing from the customers is the oversharing. AI can make it easier for users to access information. You all agree, right? And they normally wouldn't have permissions to, even if they don't have permissions to see. So without guardrails, AI can unintentionally bypass established access controls, and it actually ends up exposing the sensitive and regulated data, which is super scary and which needs to be controlled. And the third risk that we've heard from the customers is there is the risk of users generating or distributing content that violates policies, whether that's unethical content or regulated data or things like other high risk outputs as well. So as AI becomes more accessible to the customer, so does the potential of misuse as well. Right. So these are some of the data security concerns, top data security concerns that we've been hearing from the customers. And then when we talk to developers, while we are, positioning, the Foundry integration with Microsoft Purview. We hear from the developers that at least 75% of developer decision makers believe that they can prevent unauthorized data exposure, but they still worry about broader security risk. So this actually tells us that point solutions aren't enough, right? And teams are asking for an end-to-end comprehensive model of the protection, and which is where we come in. And on top of that, more than 65% of the developers say that they had to compromise on security features because of the resource constraints. This is a super big deal, right? It means developers want to build responsibly, they just don't always have the tools or time or budget to do it properly. So the takeaway here in this slide is super simple. If we want AI apps to be widely adopted across the enterprise, we need to directly address both sides of this equation, data protection as well as developer enablement. So the organizations that solve this balance will be the ones that scale with AI most successfully. Now, I want to talk about how Microsoft Purview comes into the picture, and it helps you protect, with all of these challenges that you're seeing. Can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. Microsoft Purview, as you may know, is all about your data. It brings data security, data governance, and data risk and compliance all together. Right, so as you see here on this slide, we are split in between three pillars of security, governance, and risk and compliance when it comes to your data. And we have products in the Microsoft Purview suite that matches these three pillars. So for example, in data security, we have data loss prevention, insider risk management, and information protection. This will give you comprehensive data security across your clouds and apps and devices. And for the data governance side, we have data mapping, data cataloging, and data estates for your structured data. And for data risk and compliance, we have data lifecycle management, e-discovery, audit, as well as compliance management to ensure that you adhere to your regulations, your laws, and that you are compliant. Right. So when we are talking about Microsoft Purview, we are talking about all of these products. And when we are talking about securing and governing AI, as in Purview for AI, we are talking about set of features that you see here on the screen within these products that will help to secure and govern AI interactions. So for example, we have insider risk management features that helps to secure AI interactions, right? And in the following slides, we are going to talk to you about how, if you're building apps or agents through Microsoft Foundry, how are we going to use all of these services that you see here on the screen in order to protect those apps and services. So I just want to pause here for a second and remind you that please leverage the Q&A. I have, a lot of our team members joined in this call to help you out with the Q&A. So please make sure you leverage this moment and ask us all the difficult questions that you may have running in your mind right now. Okay, moving on to the next slide, please. Okay, thank you. Talking about the comprehensive solution, coming back from the previous slide, like I said, Microsoft Purview is all about discovering, protecting, and governing the data wherever your data flows, right? So it's a comprehensive solution that we are providing, not just inside M365, but wherever your data lives, wherever it flows, including AI-driven experiences as well. As you see here on the screen, starting with M365, this is the most customers already have massive volumes of business critical data. And we have Purview natively protecting data across SharePoint, OneDrive, Exchange, Teams, and Viva Engage. Here, Purview automatically discovers the sensitive data, applies labels and policies, and enforces protections like encryption, DLP, and insider risk controls without disrupting how users work. The key point here is the protection is built into the collaboration tools that your employees use every day. Right now, talking about beyond M365, which is our central column here, data doesn't really stop at M365, right? Neither does Purview. So Purview extends governance and protection to the data stored beyond M365, including Azure SQL, Data Lake, Amazon S3, and all of the services that you see here on the screen. This kind of gives customers a single unified view of their data estate, regardless of the cloud or the platform that you're using. You can apply the policies, classification, and governance controls, consistently, and you can reduce the risk fragmentation and also manual work that several customers are doing these days. Now, talking about the AI apps and agents to the right column, right? This becomes even more critical actually in the age of AI. Purview provides the security and governance foundation for AI apps and agents, including Microsoft Copilot experiences and also other enterprise AI applications. So as you think of your AI systems, assess and the reason over data, Purview ensures that they only see what they are allowed to see, which means we are honoring the sensitivity labels, permissions, and compliance policies. This actually enables customers to adopt AI confidently. That's the whole agenda of Purview. And knowing their data stays protected, even if as it's used in the intelligent or automated phase. So whether data is in Microsoft 365 across multi-cloud and on-prem environments, or being accessed by AI, or whether the data is in beyond Microsoft 365, Microsoft Purview delivers consistent discovery, protection, and governance. So one solution, one policy plane, wherever your data flows, including into the AI. And expanding to non-M365 platform as well. So our focus in today's presentation will be non-M365 platforms. Now, moving on to the next slide, please. Thank you. This is a overview of how you may have grounding data for your knowledge sources, either being M365 or non-M365. You may have your knowledge sources and how the grounding data surfaces with your apps and agents, and then the interaction data is where we surface the prompts and responses that's going behind the user and the co-pilot, and how we surface it within DSPM for AI portal, which we're going to show you in a bit. So we are going to be focusing in this presentation on enterprise AI applications. Next slide, please. Okay, so just a quick overview. When you think about Microsoft Purview, Microsoft and DSPM for AI, we actually started off our journey protecting M365 Copilot, and then we got in a lot of services within M365 Copilot, like Copilot Fabric, Security Copilot agents in M365. All of it is protected using Microsoft Purview. However, several customers requested that I'm building my own applications, and I'm building applications in, platforms like Foundry and other enterprise AI applications. Then we introduced the enterprise AI apps application protection as well. Which is where Azure AI Foundry apps and agents will be protected. And also we have customers who said like how I'm using things like ChatGPT Enterprise in my organization, then how am I supposed to protect? So we introduced ChatGPT Enterprise, and we also wanted to give the liberty to the customers to not have the guardrails set and block the organizations use AI applications. So we introduced supporting other AI apps as well, no matter if you're using ChatGPT consumer version or DeepSeek, or we have support for over 100 AI applications that we protect using DSPM for AI. Yeah. Moving on to the next slide, please. Okay. So coming down to the today's topic specifically, I wanted to make sure that you all understand that Microsoft Purview and Microsoft Foundry came together to deliver an end-to-end security and governance foundation for your enterprise AI applications. We have had several customers talking to us about, I'm leveraging Foundry to Microsoft Foundry to build the AI applications and AI agents. I would love to have Purview protection to it. And there are some customers who are actually concerned of developing applications using Microsoft Foundry because of the fact that they thought that they wouldn't have enough protection, and which is why we introduced this integration, and we wanted to make sure we cover end-to-end security with the help of Microsoft Purview. So talking about the risk that we have heard from the customers is some of them that I talked about in the first slide, right? So keeping that in mind, we have introduced protections accordingly. So looking at this slide, as you can see, discover data risk. At first, what is most critical item is the visibility for all of you, right? With Purview, organizations can automatically discover data security and compliance risk across the data being accessed by their AI applications. So this includes identifying, if you have sensitive data, understanding where potential exposure might happen, and getting recommended actions to remediate those issues as well. All of it will be displayed right in the DSPM for AI dashboard. So before we talk about protecting data, we need to know where the risks are, right? So Purview gives that complete risk-based view, in this integration. Now, in terms of protect sensitive data, so once we understand the risk, Purview helps us to actively protect sensitive data. This means you can apply data loss prevention policies, insider risk protections, and sensitivity labels. So even when AI apps generate content or interact with private data, these right protections follow that data everywhere it goes. So this step ensures that all the sensitive information isn't misused, overexposed, or accessed by the wrong people, right? So protection, first discover, then protection. Now we need to make sure that we are governing those AI interactions as well. So that's where we introduce the layer of governance on top of all the AI interactions. So with Purview, organizations can govern user prompts and AI generated responses with audit logs, with data lifecycle policies, e-discovery, and compliance policies. So this is especially important as AI becomes part of daily workflows. Every prompt, every output, every interaction needs to meet compliance standards, right? So, which is what we take care of. So every time you collaborate with Foundry AI app or agent, we want to make sure that we are actually governing and protecting that output of the agent or app coming. So Purview ensures that your organizations can monitor those interactions, they can audit, and also they can enforce policies across the entire life cycle of that AI app and agent that you are introducing with Microsoft Foundry. So together with Purview and Microsoft Foundry, we are creating this unified platform for the customers where AI innovation can scale securely, responsibly, and in full compliance with enterprise and regulatory requirements. Okay. I'm not looking at the chat, but I hope the questions are flowing. Now, moving forward to the next slide. Yeah. So at Ignite, we released this capability, and we are GA now, where you can leverage Foundry control pane in order to be able to, sorry, we are in public preview, I say, in order to be able to enable the Microsoft Purview capability. So within Microsoft Foundry, you have the capability to turn on the toggle of Microsoft Purview. Once you do that, all of the apps and agents that you are building in Microsoft Foundry will be protected with Microsoft Purview. Where we are able to help you govern your AI apps and agents with the enterprise grade data security, compliance, and governance. As you've seen in the earlier slides, all of those capabilities of great capabilities of Microsoft Purview that it offers will be applied to all of your AI apps and agents that you're building through Microsoft Foundry. So once you enable this toggle, the app interaction data will be sent to your tenants Purview account, and it will process the interactions will be displayed within DSPM for AI within Microsoft Purview. And this is one way of currently enabling an integration. Moving on to the next slide. Currently, we have another way of enabling an integration, which is if you are a customer who have already tried out the Purview and Microsoft Foundry integration, then we used to offer you the capability to enable Microsoft Purview to Microsoft Foundry apps and agents through MDC, Microsoft Defender for Cloud option. So you go to Microsoft Defender for Cloud environment settings and Defender plans, and when you choose the AI services Defender plan, you click on settings, you will be able to get into this particular screen that you're seeing on here on the screen, which is going to help you enable the toggle of data security for your AI interactions. So what this is exactly doing is it's allowing your Microsoft Purview to access and process and store the prompts and responses, including metadata for data security and compliance outcomes. And it's helping you with all the capabilities that we saw in the earlier slides, where it gives you offering of auditing, insider risk management, communication compliance, e-discovery, and so on and so forth. And by the way, this was an old way of enabling, but we recommend you to go through Microsoft Foundry control pane and enable Microsoft Purview, because we are going to be deprecating this particular way, because we have had customers complaining that we don't want to pay extra MDC token cost. So we wanted to make sure that we respect customers' feedback, and which is when at Ignite we introduced the other way of enabling the toggle and the integration. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. I'm going to give it over to Ajay now to be able to talk about the slide. Thank you.
Thanks, Safeena. Hi, folks. So one of the things that we talked about so far is data security, data compliance. What are the challenges that today the data security teams see while governing AI applications? And we are presenting like Purview for AI as a solution, as a centralized tool that can give you all the capabilities you need, for managing your AI application with respect to data security, data compliance, data governance, AI governance. And what those outcomes are, what does Purview DSPM for AI provide for all these AI applications and agents are, every single prompt and response is captured and stored. So from every single user, for every single app and agent that's being monitored or integrated into the Purview for AI. So any app and agent that you have created in Foundry, once the integration is enabled by turning on the toggle in the Foundry control plane, you will start seeing the prompts and responses, the AI interactions come through, and you will see the data, like from which AI app it's coming. And we'll kind of show you how that looks as well in the coming slides. But we're going to track the audit log that will tell you who the user is, what the app name is, the metadata, along with the prompts and responses and grounding data. So all of that data is stored in Purview Audit and is accessible to the users. The prompts and responses are visible within the DSPM for AI Activity Explorer. Then every single prompt and response is also classified based on sensitive information types to tell you that, hey, what kind of risks are you seeing when users are using AI? And Microsoft Purview by default ships with around 400 or so sensitive information types, which is, all your PII information and your financial information and healthcare related information. All of that, is automatically detected. As Safeena was talking about, that Purview before AI has been in protecting and classifying data from SharePoint, from Exchange, from OneDrive. So during that time, all of the classifiers that are created by your data security and data compliance team, all of those classifiers now automatically apply even to AI. All of the custom classifiers that you might have created, that make more sense to your business, to your department, to the work that you do, all of that will also be, applied. And if you, for example, you have a custom classifier called Project X, and now if someone is user uses that Project X or trying to access data or do something in a Foundry app or an agent using that Project X, then you will be able to see that detection, that analytics saying, hey, this particular set, this particular classifier was seen with this for this user for this AI app. We also go do some more analytics beyond the basic classifiers is, risk like called unethical AI. So we give detections on prompt injection, jailbreak protection, racial discrimination, regulatory collusion. All of those are powered by the Purview communication compliance, and then showing up into DSPM for AI as unethical AI usage, unethical AI detections. Then similarly, Insider Risk Management also processes all of this AI prompts and responses to give you what we call Insider Risk Management or an Insider Risk Score. If a certain user has too many sensitive detections, then Insider Risk Management will kind of give him a score of a high risk or a medium risk or a low risk, however the user behavior is. As you know, Purview e-discovery is used, today to create legal cases, to collect user data. So before, we used to have e-discovery collect user data from Exchange, from OneDrive, from SharePoint, and now it will also include your AI activity data for a user. All of that data will be visible and available to be collected, put in a review set. Data lifecycle management is, allows you to create policies, to create, archival rules or deletion policy. How long do you want to keep your prompts and responses and AI chats within your environment? You can keep it longer. You can delete them if you don't want to keep them after a certain period of time. You can set up certain rules and policies using that service. So all of this, we kind of term like, the visibility aspect of, the data as well as the analytics associated to it. Then we go a little more advanced. We talk about grounding data. So one of the things that we talk about is within Azure Foundry, if you use Azure Search, to access a vector database and you're accessing a lot of documents from a document store, whether that is in blob storage or SharePoint or somewhere else, And those documents come with labels, that you have been labeling and classifying for over so many years. But now those labels will also be honored because those labels come with permissions. For example, if a user is accessing a document using a highly confidential, that it has a highly confidential label, but if the user does not have access to that label or documents to that type of a label, then Foundry will not process the document because it's going to honor the permissions that associate with the label, that the document has. This is very unique feature. It's a very important feature that was announced at Ignite, and it's in public preview because today I think we are the only one who not only gave you a way to access the vector database and documents, but also honor the labels and the permissions with it. And the third piece, and the more advanced piece, is about controlling the AI behavior. Now, when you have the visibility of how the users are using your AI apps and agents, you want to put in certain controls. Using Purview data loss prevention, you can put controls, and you can now set up policies um, for those, saying, hey, I don't want this particular set to be accessed by AI. So if someone user puts that in a prompt, that prompt needs to be blocked. So those are the features, all the different features that you get to Purview of DSPM for AI. Now I'm just going to go over how the user experience is. I'm sure many of you have already looked and are using Purview DSPM for AI. The key part to remember in all of this is, DSPM for AI is an individual solution inside the Purview suite of solutions, and its primary is the central goal is about AI. Everything, a central location for doing data security and data computing for all AI, whether it is Microsoft Copilot, whether it's Copilot Studio, whether it is Copilot Fabric, Security Copilot, any Copilot and agents Microsoft has, any Foundry apps and agents, any custom AI apps. We have a Purview SDK and API to bring in any apps and agent developed outside of Microsoft that can also be integrated. We have a integration with OpenAI ChatGPT Enterprise, and even we have protections where we detect data, AI activity from a browser and network-based as well. But everything shows up here in Purview DSPM for AI. As we talked about enabling the Foundry integrations, right? There are two main things you have to do for this integration to be enabled. The first part was, as Safeena talked about, the Foundry toggle within the Foundry control plane that was introduced at Ignite. You have to turn that on. It's subscription based. The second thing you have to do here is in Purviews, turn on a collection policy. A collection policy basically is a policy that basically enables Purview, or you're giving consent to Purview thinking, hey, now you need to start collecting AI activity for this particular AI source. So this particular collection policy is about capture interactions for enterprise AI apps, which covers, Azure Foundry. So this needs to be enabled. Once this is enabled, and the Foundry toggle is enabled on the Foundry side, then the data will flow in. That's all you have to do to enable the integration. Since it's both are Microsoft solutions, they are natively integrated, and there's no coding or anything else needed to be done. So within DSPM for AI, we have this feature called one-click policies. So when we look at this, whether we look at this collection policies or enabling communication compliance, enabling insider risk management, all of those show up here in the recommendations. And you can click those recommendations and click create policy. And once it's done, it'll show you it's done. So that's the whole idea, so that you'd never have to leave this UX to go through the different Purview solutions to get some of those features. We also have a default reporting dashboard that kind of gives visibility into all of these risk analytics that we talked about. Total interactions over time, how much AI activity are we seeing within Purview and for which AI apps and agents? How much of that is sensitive interactions? What kind of sensitive interactions or sits are we seeing, across these different AI apps that you have? How many unethical AI interactions? What are those? What are the different labels? What are the documents being accessed? What are the top sensitive labels being referenced in AI? Then, the insider risk severity. What kind of insider risk do you have? Risky AI usage. All of these are, our default dashboards within Purview DSPM for AI that we cover. So when we go into the reports section, you can filter them to look at only enterprise AI apps. You can filter them to look at only Microsoft Copilot experiences, or you can look at all of them as well to kind of show you what are the different AI apps, how many interactions do you see, what are the different, sensitive detections or sensitive information types, that you frequently see, and with which AI app. How many unethical AI interactions? Same thing, what are the different labels being referenced? Then we talked about insider risk management. There are two flavors of insider risk management. One is purely against the user that, will tell, if there are high-risk users and what AI apps are they using, where we see this high-risk usage. And the other part is also about an AI application, meaning do we see a lot of risky usage happening with certain AI apps? So there is a risk severity per AI app as well, that is being shown here, and not just user. So there's two flavors. You can look at the risky AI usage per application, and then also the users, who have a risk. Now, we talked about, and there were questions in the chat as well, that do you see prompts and responses? The answer is yes. We show you the Activity Explorer within DSPM for AI will show you AI interactions. AI interactions covers every single prompt, every single response, and that prompt and that AI will tell you that this prompt happened with this app at this time, and this was the user, who did that app. The metadata, the user metadata, the app metadata, and the prompt and the response value, and the grounding data in some cases. If there is a sensitive detections, right? For example, if Purview detects certain sensitive information associated with the prompt or a response, then it will create another event on top of your AI interaction called sensitive information type. And that will kind of tell you, hey, we detected social security number, credit card number, whatever with this particular prompt, or whatever that is. If we have a DLP rule enabled in Purview, a policy enabled in Purview, and if there is a match, and if say that service blocks a prompt, then it creates an event telling you, hey, that there was this prompt by this user in this app, and it was blocked, because it matched on this policy that you set up. So this is how the AI Activity Explorer looks like within DSPM for AI. It's very versatile in terms of filtering. You can filter by app category. You can filter by app name. You can filter by agent name. You can filter by user. You can just look at a particular user and see what are the different AI apps is being in use. You can filter by certain sensitive to info type. If you want to just look at a certain classifier and see, do you see any data there? So, of course, date and timestamp. But that's how this looks like. To tell you what is the AI app categories is considered enterprise AI app or Copilot or what, and then the app name, the username, and then when you click in details, it will kind of show you the prompts and responses. One thing to remember is seeing the prompts and responses within DSPM for AI Activity Explorer requires an additional role within Purview. Because it is considered, and most customers also had requested this, that the prompt and response values, can be user privacy data, can be commercially sensitive data, business data, and that should not be accessible to all users. So even though if you have a reader or an admin role within Purview, you will have to have a data security viewer role, content viewer role on top of that role to be able to actually see the value of the prompt, the value of the response. So this is how, if you look at an AI interaction, the details, you can click and then you'll kind of see what type of AI interaction is it, who the user is, what type of category and where it was, and within interaction details is where the prompt or response is there. Where you can see a prompt, you can see the response, and you can also see sometimes the resources accessed. Another view that we have within the DSPM for AI is the apps and agents view. The apps and agents view is to give up a more of a high level view. If someone asks a question, hey, what are the different apps and agents are being today monitored and protected by Purview for DSPM for AI? You can come in here and kind of look at that, and it will give you some analytics, some metrics, which can be used for reporting purposes. So typically, if we are talking specifically for Foundry, and this works for any apps and agents, but excuse me, when you talk about Foundry, you'll show you all the different Foundry apps, that are integrated, whose data is flowing into Purview. Then you are able to export that data to do any of the reporting purposes as well. It's kind of shows, if you select one of them, it will kind of take you down and show you how many policies are enabled for that particular AI app or an agent. So the question is, are we, all data security, data compliance policies are enabled or not? What kind of risky interaction do we see with this specific AI app, Contoso Outdoors, that is being shown? What unethical AI is just for this particular app? So it is kind of an app-based reporting function that you could use this feature as. It will tell you, what kind of usage you have, what kind of interactions are you seeing with this particular AI app. Usage over time, some insights, some numbers, that you could use to see, how the app is being used within your organization. And all of this then can be exported as well. Some of the other things beyond this is, we talked about, is when we looked at that dashboard for unethical AI, and you wanted to click and go to look at this, what are these unethical AIs? Where were they detected? When you click them, it will take you to communication compliance, where you will see those alerts. From there, you can set up, triaging of those alerts. So all of these Purview solutions are tightly integrated to, serve the AI outcomes, that are being shown within DSPM for AI. Same thing is with e-discovery. So when you go into e-discovery, You can create a case, and you can select users, and you can select, what are the different AI type activity you want to collect, and you'll be able to do that. With data lifecycle management, you will see the AI locations where you can set up a policy for. Another thing that came about is the compliance manager. We don't have a screenshot or a demo to show you today, but I will quickly talk about it. Is now Purview Compliance Manager covers Azure Foundry as well. It used to cover all of the Microsoft M365 Copilot and Copilot Studio, but now it covers Azure Foundry apps and agents as well. And what that means is today you can run a scan or an investigation against your Azure Foundry environment and see, are you compliant against the NIST AI regulations? Are you compliant against the EU AI Act? And then it will give you a result and say, hey, these are all the things, maybe you're compliant with, or maybe you're compliant not, that you need to fix. So Purview Compliance Manager, is available as well. So I'll quickly talk about all of the cost when it comes to Purview DSPM for AI. We talked about, how DSPM for AI looks and the features and, the experience and the problems and, the outcome that we're trying to solve for. One of the other things that was introduced around May at Microsoft Build event was the pay-as-you-go billing for the Purview DSPM for AI, or what we call consumptive billing model. So anything within DSPM for AI, which is outside of Microsoft M365 ecosystem, right, will have some kind of consumptive billing associated to it on top of your Purview licensing or your enterprise M365 licensing. Anything which is inside Microsoft M365 Copilot, Copilot Studio, M365 agents, even if there are any new agents that come under M365, all of those are covered by your enterprise E5 license. But anything else that is outside of it, even if it is Microsoft solutions like Copilot in Fabric, Microsoft Foundry, Security Copilot, there is a pay-as-you-go or consumptive billing option. When you enable the Purview collection policy, you will get billed for audit and the data security in transit protection, which is the classification, the SITS classification, the sensitive information type detection. For any Microsoft solution, audit is included, and it's part of your enterprise E5 license. For example, Foundry, Copilot in Fabric, all of that audit, there is no cost to you. Only the data security in transit protection, which is the classification. Then when you want to enable the unethical AI detections, there is a billing meter that will go against for that communication compliance. Same thing with insider risk management. When you enable the insider risk management feature or the policy within DSPM for AI, there will be another billing meter associated to it. Similarly for e-discovery or data lifecycle management. So that's how the billing model is very flexible to your needs, and you can enable everything or piecemeal it depending upon what you want to do and how do you want to progress, using all the different features within DSPM for AI. But the idea is we will have a central place to govern and protect your AI apps and agents. Any interesting questions, Safeena, team, that we want to cover?
We just got one question that came through that said, can you drill down to see the users who are using it and not just the number of users?
Yes, yes, definitely. As I said, so when you go into the Activity Explorer, you can select a particular AI app and you look at all the users who are using it. Definitely you can drill down. So from the dashboards, it will take you to the Activity Explorer when you want to drill down.
Perfect. And then our next question says, do we have to identify a PAYG resource if they are not using DSPM outside of the M365 ecosystem?
Yes, so as I said, anything that is outside of M365, for example, if you're building Foundry apps and agents, you have to be enabled for the pay-as-you-go feature. If you're want to monitor and audit and protect your Copilot in Fabric, it requires some pay-as-you-go. Foundry, we talked about security Copilot or custom AI apps. Outside of, if you're building your homegrown AI apps or agents, and we can integrate them using the Purview APIs and the SDK, and yes, that will require the pay-as-you-go, yes. So the Foundry, I think, is the easiest. Everybody's creating apps and agents for pay-as-you-go resource.
Oh, another question just came through that says, are we charged for Copilot for DSPM?
So as I said, M365 Copilot Studio deployed within the M365 ecosystem. M365 agents, there's no additional charge. It's included part of your enterprise E5 license.
Great. Another question says, can you please share information around GCC availability for these capabilities if these features are all in Azure Commercial? Then GCC customers who are using Azure Commercial for Foundry will have access to capabilities that are in Azure Commercial, but if there are dependencies on Purview that is in the GCC cloud, features that are tied to Purview included in M365 G5 licenses, then there could be issues for GCC customers trying to understand whether our government customers have full access or if they are on the GCC cloud.
Safeena or team, do we know the answer to that? But we might have to get back to you on the GCC availability, unless someone on the team knows. Yeah. Can you please reach out to me, whoever the user is who asked the question? I'll be more than happy to give you that information, find out and give you that.
Sounds good. Okay, and I think all of our other questions have been answered in the chat by our great moderators. So thank you everybody for sending all of those questions through today. And thank you so much to Ajay and Safeena for being our guests and for sharing all of that great information with our community. Before I close this out, Ajay and Safeena, did you have anything else you just wanted to add on before we say goodbye today?
No, we just wanted to say, please reach out to us. If you need help, enabling Purview DSPM for AI, especially with the new Foundry integration announced at Ignite in public preview, more than happy to help you guys. If you have, please reach out. If you have any custom features you are looking for, we'd love to hear your feedback as well.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you again so much to our presenters and our moderators today who helped with answering all of the questions that came through. To all listeners that are still on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desire to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community. Together, we can make a global impact. So join us at aka.ms/securitycommunity. This is also where you'll be notified about upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered or other product-related questions, please feel free to raise them at aka.ms/Azure Purview Community. Thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. We hope to see you next time.